All right. So um, today on Starting 101, I'm going to go from my car almost getting towed to figuring out essentially the key to the difference between being happy or miserable in your side business and whatever that has to do with an audience. And just the epiphany that I had today after the day that I had that should have been horrible, but it ended up being like really amazing. And I'll tell you why. So this is Starting 101, and it's a live series that's basically documenting and showing the journey from taking the seed of an idea for a business and actually turning that into a full-fledged business, or seeing how far we get after 101 episodes of these things where I share all my lessons. Um, so the background on this is episode 2. I'm JP, jpadamsonline.com. And what happened was essentially after working 20 years in startups, and I learned a lot of things from there, and I decided to write and publish a book on productivity. So I did that. And then I now own and run 2 SaaS businesses. And but it eventually dawned on me that I'm not actually running a business. What I have is a collection of projects that would like to be a business. And so I'm basically taking everything, starting over from scratch, and kind of like showing how I would actually turn all these projects into a business that I can run on the side. So that's basically the idea of these live series when I come on here. But essentially, if you're not following me if you're seeing this on YouTube, then like my page and you can see whenever I come on live. I'll try to do this several times a week. And if you're on YouTube, then subscribe to my channel and click the notification, and it'll show you anytime I come on. So basically what happened was yesterday I was going for a bike ride, and I noticed on the side of my old clunker, my cash car, Betsy, like a little orange note. And I knew that was bad. So I basically went in, pulled it up, and it said, oh, this car has been parked here, and due to city ordinance or whatever, it's going to get towed. And so that was yesterday night, and I'm kind of like in a panic because Betsy, I've had Betsy for like 4 years. She's a 2002 old Lexus GS, and she was driving like a dream. And then one day she just died, and I tried to fix her, and I think it was like I fixed her, took her to work the next day, and then brought her home, and she died again. And I was like, yeah, I'm not fixing it again. And so I ended up getting a new car, but Betsy's been parked outside for some time now. Turns out the front tire had gone flat, the registration's expired or whatever, and I guess the cops saw it, and they were going to come put a boot on it and tow it. So of course I didn't want to get it towed. I've actually been wanting to donate it to Cars for Kids or Cars for Veterans or something like that. And so I, looking at it, I was like, okay, you know what? I need to clean out Betsy, move Betsy, and get that going. So this afternoon, I was basically in there trying to figure out how I'm going to get the Cars for Kids people to come and get this thing before the cops do, what I need to do to kind of like put the sign on it. And so I'm cleaning out Betsy, and I'm taking everything out of there, and I realized it had like a disc changer. It was like a 5 CD. I know it's old, right? A 5 CD disc changer. And I'm cleaning this out, and I took out all the disc, and I find one of the CDs is one of my own with songs that I'd done some like 20 years ago at this point. And so I take everything over, move it to my new car, and I had to like push Betsy out of the way and kind of pump up the tire and everything else, like a ton of work. So by this point in the hot Texas sun, I'm already exhausted. But it's okay. I decide to get in my own car, turn on the AC to kind of like rest for a little bit, and I throw the CD in. And it's a song that I hadn't heard in like literally like it was 2020. So I haven't heard this song in at least 15 years or something. And it's a song that me and a bunch of friends did. And we had a rap group back in the day, and we were quite good actually, if I do say so myself. And so, I decided to kind of like post a little story on it on Instagram, and my friend sees it. So he's like, hey, yo, that's fire. Like I really like I haven't heard that song in forever. So I decide to go live and we end up playing songs back and forth. He had some old songs on his Windows machine and I had a bunch of songs on this CD and we're basically just going back and forth talking about, how we were artists and makers and all the beats we used to make, the songs we used to write, and how it's so different now where it never really goes away. Like you never really stop making stuff, but you just don't have the time. And the funny thing is like when you do have the time, you don't know how to treat it like a business. And so we probably spent like an hour. So take that. That basically means pushing a car by myself, hours in the hot sun. I should be exhausted, right? And then I spend an hour on this live, going back and forth on music and the projects we were working on and everything. And then I get back in the house and I was like super excited. Like I'm still energized. This is like a couple of hours, must have been like 2, 3 hours ago at this point. And I'm still like pumped and full of energy. Like I'm getting a little tired now, but it's like I was energized. And I didn't at first it didn't make sense. I'm like, why am I so pumped? Why am I so amped up? And I realized that spending that hour, I mean, I hadn't caught up with my friend in probably at least a year at this point. And I can shout him out here. Renzo the kid, I hadn't caught up with him in like at least a year. And but talking to him, right? He's grown too. He has a kid, actually two kids. He has two kids. He's working his day job and things like that, but he's still finding time every once in a while to make, to make some music, to make, period, to write something. And the idea of like, I got so excited just hearing that he was still passionate about music and still passionate about beats and that he was still writing something. And I was like, huh, like, how come I'm so pumped and amped today? And it really comes down to it that the people that you spend time with, like you got to find people that when you spend time with them, they energize you, like they pump you up, and the projects that they're working on excites you. And that got me thinking about, I wanted to talk about audience today, like choosing your audience, because that's at the stage I am. It's like, how do I select my audience? And I hadn't really decided, what was it going to be? Was it going to be, um, because I talked about, parents that are working in tech, that have, some kind of like side business that they're trying to start. And I think that kind of like that resonated because that's essentially one way that you could describe me. But that wasn't it actually. It was like today, after getting out of that car, I realized that I love that feeling of actually like vibing with someone that's working on a process, you know, a little bit of like brainstorming on seeing how to make it happen, putting some kind of structure around it to actually make sure it happens. But it has to be people that are like positive and excited about making things. And that was the thing. It's like, and it really doesn't matter what you're making. You just have to be able to create. So it could be music, it could be an app, it could be code, it could be beats, it could be books, it could be whatever. But if you're making stuff, it could even be businesses. But as long as like you're creative, where you know what it's like to like sit, conceive of an idea, think about it, and then actually go about making it happen, that's the thing right there. So that was my epiphany moment today. I was like, you know what? That is it. That is my audience, right? It's people that are making stuff. Because as long as you're making something, and the thing is, I have so many interests as far as making, like I've drawn, painted, written, composed, and it's like basically like it all excites me. And getting to vibe with someone that's on that and then talking about how to actually like make it happen, not just from a creative standpoint, but from a structural and a system standpoint, actually is like exciting to me. And so I figured, you know what? That's the thing. That is my audience. Now, of course, that's one step to finding an audience because I've kind of like been researching this too because I knew this was the step that I was at. And one of the things that I found is that you have to do a little bit of research as well. You can't just, gut feeling it because I was trying to gut feel it before. And so in trying to do that, I was basically seeing that what I was getting was something that didn't really resonate with me. But today, I'm like, I know for a fact it's basically like my audience, like people that I'd be glad to serve, right? Because that's really what it is. Like, who would I be glad to serve, hang out with, brainstorm for, put all my mental energy into helping like make their vision real? It's people that are making stuff, from an artistic place to put something different out in the world. And those are creatives and makers. That's pretty much it. So that's my audience. Like, and I'm one of them. And I love to hang out with those people. And it's always that when I do hang out with those people, especially the positive ones, it gets me super amped and super pumped. But the one step is getting to the point where you know what it is inside you that makes you happy. But before that or after that or at some point, you also have to kind of like validate a little bit to make sure that this idea is like it actually has like feasibility in the market as well, not just within yourself. So that probably has to do with a little bit of research to kind of like see what's going on with your target audience. Excuse me. And I think that one thing is that we usually, I don't know, like for me, I knew what it was that the audience that I wanted to kind of go towards, but I didn't know how to phrase it in a way that resonated with me. And I didn't really know, which choice of words I was going to use. For example, like side business or side hustle. So one tool that I ended up using for that was Google Trends. Like if you don't know what this is here, you know what? I'll share my screen and kind of like show this for a second. But Google Trends essentially is a tool that allows you to see what trends are um happening and how they go on. So this is Google Trends. Like if you just come in here, you can just go to trends.google.com and it will kind of like show up something like this. So for me, it was kind of like, all right, I'm definitely focused on people that doing side hustle, side business or whatever, but I didn't know, if it was going to be creatives or whatever. So if I come in here and type in side hustle, because it's not enough for me to just know what it is that I want to focus on or what type of what type of projects, but I also have to know if that's still relevant and people are looking for it that way. So if you kind of like look at this here, I can take this and expand this out to from the beginning of time, essentially. And you can see that, from 2004 all the way till today, it's grown a lot. And it ticked off here in 2015, and it's just been on the up and up. But that said, you can also compare it to something else. So if you look at side business, now you can see that in comparison, side business is actually up over time over side hustle, but side hustle just took off right here. And once it took off, it's just been there and it's like neck and neck with side business. But that said, just looking at that actually helped me because there was a point where until today, when I was just like researching and looking at the data, I was thinking, you know what, I'm going to go with side hustle because side hustle is like picking up steam right now. But after that session in the car where I'm like listening to music and talking about this stuff with my friend who's also, in his 30s, also has a family, also has an actual day job that he's doing, the word that kept coming back and up over and over again was that when we were kids and we were doing this, we weren't treating it like a business. And so that's the key. It's like at this stage, we don't just want to hustle. Like we already have things that we're focused on that's taking energy. So it's more so that we want to run a business. We want to set up a system, something that can be maintained on the side. And like that thought process resonated with me, but that was after comparing side hustle and side business. And even though side hustle is a little bit up right now, I like the fact that side business has been up for a while, which means also that if you're looking at maybe an older set of demographic people that have been around longer, then they're probably going to resonate more with the idea of a side business. It's not going to be new to them. And it's not going to be that they just got interested in this as of 2015. Like they've been in it for a longer period of time. So that's how I ended up, kind of like not only finding the wording, but figuring out who I want to focus on and who I'd be excited to serve is people that are making stuff. So if you look at it, I mean, shifting back over here, like, I mean, yeah, if you look at it, it's those things. So when you're researching your target audience, you can, take a look at what's over there. But I mean, like here, let's go back and just take a look at this. It really isn't enough to sit and think about, just who do I want to serve and that's it. But is there a business there? And is it in terms of how people and how markets and how the industry and how people are going to be searching for it and finding it? Like, is it in those terms? Because whatever you want to do, I'm sure you can do, but it's a little bit easier if you actually make sure that, you know, people are looking for it in those terms. The trend is still in your favor. It hasn't faded out yet or anything like that. Um, and that's it. So, like, at the end of the day, it's kind of like the question then goes out to you is like, what excites you, internally? What kind of projects would really excite you? What kind of people, when you interact with them, you find that you're always energized after? Because you figure if you're going to be spending time and focusing on your side business over and over again, you really have to find a way to make sure that, on the longer days where you've had to, push your car in the sun and, work all day and then like push your car by yourself and deal with the stress and anxiety of like getting your car towed before the cops come and put a boot on it and all those things. At the end of that day, if you still have to work on your side business, you still should be something that you look forward to. It should be something that when you're done with it, you get a little second win, a little second boost of energy because you just like it that much. So that's really it as far as like the researching your target audience and things like that. It's like you got to look within and find out what resonates with you and what makes you happy and what kind of things give you joy and energy. But then you also have to look out a little bit and see, you know what, compare some things that align there. Maybe go a little bit more general and maybe go a little bit more specific. Like, for example, I was saying people that work in tech. Honestly, I don't really care that much about people that work in tech. I just care about people that make stuff or people that are trying to make a vision or a dream happen. So that's really it. Needless to say, I'm still pumped up and I hope that you can find people that get you as excited and as pumped up as I am right now. I mean, I wanted to say today is like we're back again, like on some Backstreet Boy stuff, but I just had to leave it alone. But in any case, thank you for tuning in. This was Starting 101. I'm JP from JP Adams Online. Like my page, follow me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.